When I first saw Boyfriend Dungeon on Kickstarter back in 2018, I believe, I read the premise and I was instantly intrigued. All right, let's see here. So Boyfriend Dungeon is a RPG, dungeon crawler, roguelike, dating simulator where you get to date your weapons? What the fuck? So I gave them my monies, pledged on the Kickstarter, and then promptly forgot about it. The impossible happened. The game actually came out, and I must say, it is incredible. I thought this was going to be one of those games where it was going to be cheeky and funny, like a lot of these like dating sim type games are, but I must say that the game is actually fantastic, and I'm going to tell you why I thought this little game was quite charming. So the premise of the game is that you go around in these dungeons fighting baddies and whatnot, but you get to f your weapons. Combat is kind of similar to games like Hades. I have to make the connection because it is similar in combat, but think of it as if you're playing Hades, but you get to get frisky with the Stygian blade. Every weapon that you find in the game is a sentient, living, breathing, actual human, but they can turn into a beautiful, romanceable weapon, similar to like a werewolf, but instead of it turning into a doggo, it turns into like a rapier. Also, the introduction sequences they have for all of these weapons is really, really good looking. So the game starts you off with a pretty in-depth character creation screen. And one of my favorite things that I wish more games would do is it gives you the option to choose your pronouns at the start, but also at any time in the game, you can change any of your character options. So if you start off with purple hair and you don't want purple hair, you can change that later on, and you can change your name at any time, which is really, really nice for when you accidentally make yourself name something ridiculous and you go out on a date with a rapier and have to tell them that your name is Dixie Normus. You can change that at any time, which is great. And I love that. Just like real life, you can just change your name whenever you want. The character you play at is basically start out as someone who has never been on a date before, and you progress through the story, meeting people and gaining your self-confidence as you date these various weapons and fall in love with them. And it's a great story, and that's what I'll say about the main storyline and who you are. Another feature of the game is at the start, when you're starting your character, it gives you the option to ignore messages from your mom, which I know is something that a lot of us wish we had in real life, given the option. So it's good to see a game finally take that stance and give us the option to ignore our mothers. So the combat and the dungeons themselves, as you going through these dungeons, the first one you unlock is a shopping mall where you're battling your deepest fears like cell phones and black and white televisions that I know we're all scared of, that progressively get harder as you go down in the floors. You start on floor 1, and each of them goes to like floor 12 or 13 depending on the dungeon, and the enemies get progressively harder, so you fight like flip phone, and then you get like scarier flip phone with vampire chompy teeths, until you get to the various bosses on the floors, and you beat them because you're amazing, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, the game is a roguelike, so when you're going in the dungeons and you do inevitably die, which you will die a lot, as you do in roguelike games, you do start over from the start of the dungeon when you go back in, but you do level up and you get to keep experience and you get more powerful as you go on. So any weapon experience you gain stays with you, so when you level up the weapons and pick points in the skill trees and whatnot. So every single weapon plays completely differently. I think there's 7. I didn't check that fact, but I'm saying it right now on camera. I could be wrong. And how you level these up, each one has its own like skill tree, path. I wanted to say character arc, but that doesn't make sense. Each weapon has its own skill tree that you go down as you level the weapons up and they get more powerful. But how exactly do you get these weapons more powerful? Well, let me tell you. It's by going on dates with them. So you get a sword and you go and take it out to dinner and you get a little frisky with it, and the sword loves you more, and therefore it unlocks its powers. It shows you its deep powers and has this in-depth skill tree that all of the weapons have, which leads to some pretty cool, unique gameplay. Dialogue in the game is also full of delicious sexual tension, which really adds to the atmosphere. It gives you this whole environment of this world that they've built where people turn into weapons that you sometimes want to sleep with. So it really just has this, all of the dialogue and the voice acting, which by the way, the voice acting is top notch. excellent, excellent voice acting. The dates range from pretty adorable and cute to pretty steamy and hot. There was one part where I was dating Sunder, who is a dark and mysterious, like the bad boy persona-esque. And we're sitting there in my room having a little chat, laying back on my telephone, and I get a fairly unsolicited sword pic. That's dirty! He sent me a sword pic! Oh, I can click it! It's on a bed! And you go on meeting and dating all of the weapons until you choose which ones you really like, and then you max them out on their level, and then you go to fight the big bad of the story in the final dungeon. The antagonist of this game, they did an incredible job with, because you really, really love hating this dude. He's one of the creepiest villains I've ever encountered in a game, and like he gives you a sense of unease and like makes you feel uncomfortable throughout the game, which, I mean, props to them for creating someone so hateable. He's so hateable that people on Twitter were going to the voice actor who played this dude and were harassing him for playing the character, which is shitty. And don't do that. The soundtrack to this game absolutely slaps. There's a part where you go to fight a crab telephone monster, and the soundtrack is so good that I sat there on stream just sitting there, running around not fighting the enemy, listening to the music, because it was so, so good. Each of the weapons also has unique skill sets and combos as well, so you can go into your menu and look at the combos, similar like a fighting game, essentially. So you have two different attacks. You have like a heavy attack and a light attack, and like a special ability, and each weapon has a different special ability. So like you can parry with the rapier, or like Sunder, he has like a bleed effect, and they all do different things. There's a lightsaber that gives you like chain lightning, but learning the different combos and whatnot is important to getting good and not dying all the time. So if you have a dagger, you're fast and stabby, but if you have like the big scythe, you're all slow and scythy. Is that a word? Scythy? Sure, why not? It's a word now. I said it on camera, so that makes it a word. You also have an arsenal of various magical abilities that you learn through zines, which are magazines. They like to shorten a lot of things, so like the dungeon is called the Dunge. Magazines are called zines. I've learned a lot through this game. You can craft various different zines, which give you different magical abilities as well. You start out with one, I think it's like Dragon Blast or whatever, and you get to shoot a fireball. But it adds another level of customization where you can, play with the different weapons that you like, along with the different magical abilities you like, and the different gear that you like. The game also has a full crafting system where you can make things from armor and items to gifts that you can give on dates. And it has some interesting materials that it uses for crafting, such as everyone knows that a teddy bear is made from 2 plastic and 5 sugar, and fried mackerel is made from 1 sugar and 3 wire, just like it is in the world we live in here in real life, with no differences. There's tons and tons of different armor and hats and glasses and adornments that you can put on. You can put a flower in your hair that all have different stats and abilities, but who cares about what they actually do as long as you look fabulous while you're in your dungeons destroying shit like phones and whatnot. This leads to some pretty interesting depth in the game. It's just something I didn't expect by looking at the surface of the game, that there'd be like this much to the game itself. So it is absolutely 1 part dating simulator, 1 part dungeon crawler, but it blends together quite fantastically, if I do say so myself. So the gameplay is a blast. I had so much fun with it. The biggest downside I have to say about the game is it's not very deep of a game. There's only a couple of dungeons that you go through, and then there's the big final encounter that happens, and then there's, I believe, like I said, 7, which again, I'm just making that number up. That could be completely wrong. Weapons that you can go through and level up. So there's not a ton of replayability to it as far as content is concerned. And when I did finally finish it, with my first playthrough with my first weapon that I chose, I was left like wanting more. I felt like it just kind of ended, which made me feel sad because I was having so much fun playing the game that when it was over, I was just like, I want more. Give me more of this game. It almost felt kind of like early access, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure this is just fully out. I know they have plans for other characters that are coming to the game, but they're not in yet, which I'll play them again when they come out, because like I said, I had so much fun with this game. really, Boyfriend Dungeon has become one of my favorite games of the year. I love roguelikes. I love dungeon crawlers. I've been known to like a couple of dating sims as well. Dream Daddy was amazing, and who doesn't like Hatoful Boyfriend? It's short. There's not a ton to it, so they could have done more with it, but what you do get is excellent. So if you like a well put together story game combo with excellent gameplay and it being a lot of fun, and don't mind it being not the longest game, give it a try. Honestly, I had an absolute blast with it. Led to some hilarious moments. I was rolling the whole time and also just having a really good time playing it. It's a game I'll probably play through a few times just because it's so fun to play, even if there's not a ton of depth involved with it once you finish the game itself. That's all I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. I haven't done a video like this before, but I want to do more like this. I got this whole ass studio setup that I want to use more often. So let me know what you thought in the comments below, because I want to do this a lot more. So I'm probably just going to do it. So let me know anyways. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope this helped you in some way. I love you very much. And until next time, you stay saucy. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and help me destroy the YouTube algorithm overlords by leaving a comment and liking this video. I appreciate you very much. You're amazing, and until next time, you stay saucy.